Hello. My choice of source is being shown right here, right next to me to my right. It is a poster that was created by the artist Malaquias Montoya in 1973. The poster's title is Vietnam Aslan, as it states on top, quite literally, Vietnam Aslan. Um, Basically, what the poster is showing is we have two people, one which is, I'm assuming, Vietnamese, and another one is a Chicano person. Um, We also have two different languages up here. Um, I don't speak Vietnamese, but I do speak Spanish, and I know that it says, "Together we can beat them" in Spanish, which refers to beating, as mentioned in the reading El Plan de Aztlán, the Republican and the Democratic parties, which were seen as the same animal with two heads to feed from the same throw. Um, so that is who they are trying to defeat. Um, this poster was more of an anti-war protest by Montoya. Basically, he didn't want his people, that were already oppressed to be further, you know, oppressed by being sent into war to die and all that stuff. And then their promised stuff and the people back in their land, by the borderlands, are still being discriminated against and have terrible working and living conditions. At the bottom, right here, it also says fuera, which means outside, also referring to the Democratic and Republican parties, or that were controlling their borderlands. The way in which this further relates into the reading El Plan de Aztlan is that, I mean, it's in the name Aztlan. El Plan de Aztlan basically stated that the Chicano community wanted to have control over um, their communities, basically where they were most prominent in, and so that is why they want the Democratic and the Republican parties out, because they don't want to give them control anymore. They want to take control. This further relates to the lecture in which, we went over the problems in the borderlands, the discrimination, and the horrible working conditions that the people were, um, having to deal with. One of the ways in which the people fought off such discrimination and such oppression was by not by directly like fighting and going into war, but rather showing off their culture and, um, creating their own, communities and standing out against, the people that were oppressing them, which relates to Montoya's anti-war concept, um, basically asking if we come together, or saying if we come together, we are able to outshine them and kick them out. Um, One way in which I can relate this to my career field is, I'm an engineering field, and, um, if we think about it, engineering is kind of something that was probably seen as impossible. The things that we're able to do nowadays, back in the day, and the way in which the people were oppressed and discriminated against was probably something that they never saw as fading away, but slowly, through peaceful protesting and continuing to shine above, the people have slowly, started to, see, everything that was going on, and some progress has been made. Similar to engineering, where nowadays there's a lot of things that we do now that might have seemed impossible back in the day. Furthermore, I can relate it to probably my workplace, um, where it is very important to create a culture of equality for everyone, and it just creates a better work environment, especially since I work in the food industry. You really need to stick together regardless of race, ethnicity, or anything like that, in order to be successful. So, yeah, thank you for listening.